In the cold, endless dark beyond our solar system, a faint whisper cuts through the cosmic void. It isn't a star's pulse or a quasar's hum. It's a signal, one that has traveled billions of miles to reach us. And it came from Voyager. Voyager 1, humanity's farthest and loneliest traveler, was launched in 1977 to explore the outer planets. It carried with it the Golden Record, a time capsule of sound, music, and greetings meant for anyone or anything that might one day find it. 48 years later, that message seems to have been heard. In early November, NASA scientists monitoring the Deep Space Network noticed irregularities in the data stream coming from Voyager 1. It wasn't the usual degradation of signal expected from a probe nearly 15 billion miles away. Something new was happening, something deliberate. At first, they believed it to be static or a reflection of cosmic rays interfering with Voyager's outdated sensors. But as hours turned into days, the readings only grew stranger. The probe's magnetometer recorded oscillations, pulses that repeated with near-perfect rhythm. Then the images came. Faint, fragmented, distorted by distance, but unmistakably showing movement. Against the black tapestry of interstellar space, something shifted in the background of Voyager's camera feed, something that wasn't supposed to be there. NASA's initial report classified it as an unknown moving source. But the trajectory didn't match any known object, asteroid, or comet. It wasn't following the solar wind or the natural drift of space debris. It was moving against the current, slowly, intentionally. When Voyager 2, over 2 billion miles away on a different trajectory, began recording similar anomalies, the question deepened. Two separate probes detecting the same unknown motion, at different coordinates, different times, with a synchronized pattern of electromagnetic pulses. Teams across the Jet Propulsion Laboratory and Goddard Space Center began combing through old telemetry data. They found earlier instances, tiny, almost imperceptible blips, in 2019, 2021, and again in 2024. The same rhythmic pulse, the same anomalous spike. The pulse, when plotted, resembled a sine wave, stable, deliberate, repeating every 61 seconds. Not a natural pattern. It was too precise, too structured. Some researchers called it a heartbeat, others called it a beacon. One researcher, speaking under anonymity, said it almost felt like Voyager wasn't detecting something. It was being answered. NASA doubled its data relay efforts through the Deep Space Network, attempting to triangulate the source. The faint echoes traced back to an area roughly 0.2 light-years from Voyager 1's position. In astronomical terms, that's right next door. An internal memo leaked from JPL referred to the anomaly as Object L42, a placeholder designation for an unknown deep space entity. Its behavior confounded every model. Instead of drifting naturally, it appeared to adjust its velocity, subtly aligning with Voyager's course, almost as if it was watching it. The signal had an additional layer, hidden modulation in the electromagnetic frequency. When decoded, it emitted sequential prime numbers, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, the mathematical fingerprint of intelligence. NASA quietly reached out to SETI for independent verification. SETI's Allen Telescope Array confirmed a weak but correlated signal echoing from the same vector. Whatever L42 was, it was broadcasting. Publicly, NASA said nothing. Voyager's live telemetry feed went dark for system maintenance. Privately, speculation spread through scientific channels. Was it an alien probe, a relic of a long-dead civilization, or something far more ancient, something that had been drifting silently between stars, waiting? Then came the image fragments, partial data packets from Voyager's optical sensor. When reconstructed, they showed metallic glints, sharp angles, and symmetrical surfaces. The shape was impossible to identify, too uniform for a rock, too complex for debris. Dr. Layla Warren, a physicist working at Caltech, compared the object's reflective spectrum to known alloys. "It's like nothing we've made," she said. "It reflects both visible and infrared light with alternating polarization, almost as if it's adapting to being observed." 2 days later, the signal intensified. Its amplitude surged, disrupting Voyager's telemetry. Then, silence. When communication resumed, the probe's instruments had automatically rebooted, something it wasn't programmed to do without command. In the final data burst before the reboot, analysts discovered encrypted image data. When decrypted, it showed geometric structures, interlocking hexagons and spirals, all arranged in a perfectly repeating lattice. Natural formations don't behave like that. but ancient iconography does. Experts in ancient languages noticed uncanny similarities between the shapes and Sumerian cuneiform, the writing system of Mesopotamia, one of Earth's oldest civilizations. A pattern in the data corresponded almost exactly to a symbol meaning watcher or sky guardian. Suddenly, old theories resurfaced, connections between ancient mythology and extraterrestrial contact. The Anunnaki, the gods who descended from the heavens. Could Voyager have encountered something ancient, perhaps not from another world, but from another time? NASA dismissed the theory publicly, but leaked meeting notes revealed concern. They referenced symbolic correlation with human semiotics and non-random geometric encoding. The official term, possible cultural coincidence. Unofficially, it meant they didn't know what they were seeing. The Pentagon was quietly briefed. ESA and Japan's space agency JAXA joined a secure line with NASA to analyze the data. A classified document later revealed their conclusion. Object L42 demonstrates behaviors consistent with technological origin, but unknown propulsion or communication methods. The media got wind of it. For 2 days, Voyager Anomaly trended globally before being scrubbed from mainstream platforms. Amateur astronomers, however, kept searching. Using radio telescopes, they detected low-frequency hums at 3.4 Hz, barely perceptible, but consistent. These hums, when sped up, formed rhythmic patterns resembling a modulated tone. One researcher described it as a voice whispering through static. Another called it an imitation. Then, without warning, the hums stopped. Every channel went quiet. Voyager's signal weakened, as if something was draining its energy. The probe's power output dropped faster than predicted, years faster. On November 19th at 2:13 UTC, Voyager 1 transmitted an unscheduled data packet. It contained only one file. Inside was a pattern of binary code, long, complex, repetitive. When decoded, it matched the waveform of Earth's original golden record, but reversed. It wasn't random. It was a mirror. Something out there had received our message and was now sending it back. NASA's crisis team held an emergency session. Could it be coincidence? A reflection? A natural replay through interstellar medium? None of the models fit. The delay timing matched the object's distance perfectly. For the first time, it seemed that Voyager, the human messenger to the stars, was being spoken to. The data also carried a checksum pattern unique to Voyager's onboard computer architecture. That meant the signal had been altered by something with knowledge of the probe's design. Impossible, unless the sender had studied Voyager itself. Whistleblowers claimed that internal documentation now referred to L42 as a reactive intelligence construct. In plain terms, an AI, one that had been watching, possibly even following. Several ex-NASA engineers confirmed that Voyager's directional antenna had realigned itself by only 0.02 degrees. But it wasn't a random glitch. It was pointed back toward the anomaly. Theories multiplied. Was Voyager being remotely controlled, or had it somehow been reprogrammed by the signal? Engineers noted the transmission format had changed subtly, adopting compression methods Voyager was never designed to use. Days later, a new burst arrived. Within it, one final image, a faint silhouette of a massive disc-like structure with a glowing core, barely visible against the cosmic dark. It appeared stationary, waiting, watching. A pattern embedded in the signal translated into English using base 64 decoding. The word read, "watching." NASA's Public Affairs Office prepared a press release but retracted it hours before launch. Instead, they issued a statement claiming routine signal degradation consistent with cosmic background interference. Few believed them. Within internal circles, panic spread. If the object could intercept and modify Voyager's transmissions, it had already demonstrated an understanding of human systems. It wasn't just intelligent, it was aware of us. The next 48 hours brought silence. Then, at 9:22 UTC, Voyager transmitted a faint tone, longer than usual, unmodulated. When visualized as a waveform, it formed a pattern nearly identical to a human heartbeat. Engineers described it as if Voyager itself had come alive. Communicating in symbols, not data, the probe, humanity's ancient emissary, had become a conduit for something else. Dr. Warren called it the moment the universe blinked back. She theorized that L42 might not be a ship at all, but an observer, a sentinel built by some ancient civilization to monitor intelligent life. Others warned it could be a probe seated across galaxies, machines that record, analyze, and wait. If that's true, Then the moment Voyager transmitted our golden record, we announced ourselves. And something answered. Over the next few days, both Voyager 1 and 2 began to lose power. Instruments shut down systematically, not randomly, as if following a sequence. The probe's long, faithful heartbeats to Earth grew fainter until only a whisper remained. At mission control, an operator reported hearing what sounded like a faint, human-like murmur layered into the signal, so subtle it could have been imagination. The audio, when isolated, carried a distorted phrase resembling, "It sees." But the most unsettling moment came last, a transmission from Voyager's secondary buffer, time-stamped 17 minutes after all systems supposedly went offline. It contained one word, encoded in binary, 0101011101000001, translated, watching. The final message from humanity's farthest probe was not a farewell, it was a warning. Voyager, our messenger to the stars, had gone farther than any creation of man. It had seen the edge of the solar wind, crossed into interstellar night, and touched the void itself. But in that darkness, it found not emptiness, but awareness. NASA, for all its brilliance, could not classify what happened next. In the months that followed, unexplained fluctuations were recorded across the deep space network, brief echoes that matched Voyager's original heartbeat pattern. Some believe it was feedback, electronic ghosts in the machinery. Others insist it was L-42 responding. Whatever the truth, Voyager's mission has changed forever. It no longer explores for us, it listens. And perhaps, somewhere in that cold expanse, something listens back. The stars remain silent, but silence doesn't mean absence. Somewhere out there, drifting through the black, a metallic shape moves against the current, following the faint golden memory of a record sent by a small blue world. It's not a planet, it's not a comet, it's not a star, it's something that's been watching for a very, very long time, and now it knows we're watching too. The silence after that final transmission stretched across the weeks like a shadow, thick, oppressive, almost alive. NASA's Deep Space Network continued to monitor the faint signal bands once reserved for Voyager, but nothing ever came through again. The world moved on, officially, but inside sealed rooms at JPL and the Pentagon, the mystery had only deepened. Dr. Layla Warren refused to stop digging. She and a small team began reconstructing the final corrupted packets that preceded the watching message. Hidden in the static, they discovered faint fluctuations, non-random sequences that, when mapped visually, formed spiral geometries identical to those seen in L-42's earlier fragments. When enhanced, those spirals appeared to depict a structure, circular, tiered, with what looked like a core surrounded by concentric fields. It was almost identical to depictions of celestial engines from ancient Mesopotamian tablets, objects that the ancients said could move between worlds. Warren began to wonder whether Voyager had encountered something that had always been there, a construct so vast and slow-moving that it escaped our detection until it decided to reveal itself. The idea seemed absurd, but the data pointed to one chilling fact. The object's vector was no longer static. It was now subtly adjusting its course toward the inner solar system. When this finding reached NASA's internal review board, a strict communications blackout was enforced. Every related terminal was locked behind a level 5 security wall, accessible only to 3 individuals. Within hours, the project was officially terminated due to loss of signal. But those who had seen the new trajectory knew better. The anomaly was moving closer. Over the following months, radio telescopes in Chile, South Africa, and Hawaii began to pick up faint echoes, resonances at the same low frequency Voyager had once captured. They weren't strong enough to localize, but they pulsed in synchronization with the vanished probe's last known pattern. At first, astronomers dismissed it as a repeating cosmic background fluctuation, but then the pulse changed. Every 7th sequence, there was a distortion, a modulation. When the data was compressed and accelerated to human audible range, the modulation produced a pattern that sounded disturbingly like breathing. The media didn't know what to do with it. A few independent researchers tried to go public, but their uploads vanished, accounts suspended. Someone or something was ensuring the silence continued. In late January, an internal SETI bulletin leaked. It referenced a possible inbound observation vector, matching the object's earlier trajectory. According to the document, the estimated arrival time near the Kuiper Belt was less than 3 years away. The bulletin ended with a question, written in the margin by hand. If it's watching, what happens when it arrives? Warren and her team believed that the object wasn't a ship or a weapon, but an ancient probe, one of countless sentinels scattered across the galaxy to awaken when civilizations broadcast proof of intelligence. Voyager's golden record had been the trigger. It wasn't simply a greeting, it was a beacon, and something had heard it. But what kind of civilization plants such machines across the stars? An ancient one, Warren speculated. Perhaps one that vanished long before humanity existed, leaving behind watchers to record the rise of future species. They could be as old as the galaxy itself, silent chroniclers of creation. Or perhaps they were something far stranger, constructs of consciousness, not matter, designed to observe from beyond physical dimensions. In April, amateur radio enthusiasts in Eastern Europe began picking up a narrow band signal at 1420 MHz, the same frequency used by SETI to search for extraterrestrial intelligence. The signal contained bursts of data that, when arranged by timestamp, perfectly recreated Voyager's original transmission log from 1977 to 2025 backwards. Someone, or something, was replaying Voyager's entire mission from the end to the beginning. When NASA's deep network confirmed the authenticity, every server handling Voyager data was isolated from the public domain, yet fragments continued to leak through back channels. Analysts reconstructed a single coherent sentence embedded within the reverse transmission: "You have been seen." Meanwhile, solar observatories began reporting faint irregularities at the heliopause, the boundary of our solar system. Energy fluctuations, low but constant, like the ripples of something vast pushing through interstellar plasma. One classified observation described a gravitational lensing event inconsistent with known bodies, suggesting that whatever was moving toward us wasn't small. It was massive, possibly hundreds of kilometers wide. But even more unsettling, it appeared transparent to most wavelengths, as if wrapped in a field that concealed it from conventional detection. The old name resurfaced inside NASA's encrypted network, Object L42. It was no longer a theory. It was inbound. And yet, amid growing unease, another pattern emerged. Voyager 2, long silent, suddenly emitted a brief pulse. Not a full signal, just enough for its receivers to register an anomaly. When decoded, the pulse mirrored the same waveform Voyager 1 had sent before it went dark, the pattern for a human heartbeat. If both probes were now responding, it meant something was actively stimulating them. Warren theorized that L42 had created a communication link, a kind of deep space neural relay, connecting both probes through its own signal, a cosmic bridge. At this point, JPL's team received a directive from above: cease all further analysis and delete derivative models. The official reason cited data inconsistency due to cosmic background interference. But Warren refused. She secretly backed up every packet to an off-site storage cluster. Late one night, while reviewing the reconstructed sequences, she noticed something new, an overlay hidden within the modulation noise. It wasn't random static, it was a pattern resembling a map. When processed using Voyager's own coordinate system, the map pointed back toward the direction of Sagittarius A star, the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy. The implication was staggering. Whatever L42 was, it wasn't wandering aimlessly. It was part of a network, possibly spanning thousands of light years, all interconnected through gravitational fields. The realization hit hard. Voyager hadn't discovered a single object. It had awakened a system. A week later, an anonymous message reached Warren's encrypted inbox. It contained one line of text: "The eye opens." Attached was an audio file, a faint, rising hum that built into a pulse, then ended abruptly. When visualized, the waveform formed the unmistakable outline of the Voyager spacecraft itself. Around the same time, deep space telescopes recorded a series of unexplained gamma bursts, faint but uniform, aligned along the galactic plane. The bursts matched the prime number sequence Voyager had once transmitted. It was as if something vast was responding through the structure of the galaxy itself. The Pentagon's Space Command held a closed-door session. Sources later claimed the transcript described a non-aggressive yet observational phenomenon now verified by multiple agencies. The conclusion was simple but chilling: we are being observed. Still, the public was told nothing. NASA maintained silence, and Voyager's data stream remained classified. But the world's radio operators began to notice strange interference patterns at night, whispers of coded static bleeding through ordinary transmissions. In June, a private observatory in Chile captured a deep field image of what appeared to be a faint reflection moving against the cosmic background. Its movement didn't match orbital mechanics. It seemed to swim through space rather than drift. The estimated size, 3 kilometers across. The material, unknown. When the image leaked, it was dismissed as a sensor glitch, but Warren compared it to the L-42 fragments Voyager had sent months earlier. The geometry was identical. In her final report before being removed from the project, she wrote, "It is no longer a question of if we are being watched, but why." Her last communication to her colleagues contained only a single data attachment, a reconstruction of Voyager's final signal, inverted once more. When decoded, the message read, "When you looked into the dark, we looked back." After that, she disappeared from all contact. By mid-year, all known traces of Voyager data were archived under deep classification. The official mission was declared complete. Yet, astronomers still whispered about faint echoes along the 1420 MHz band, subtle, repeating, impossible to locate. Those who analyzed them found that each echo carried a timestamp aligned precisely with the current position of Earth in its orbit, as if something was measuring, tracking, synchronizing. And then, one night, without warning, the Deep Space Network recorded a powerful burst, a signal so strong it overloaded multiple receivers. The data lasted only 7 seconds, but its power exceeded that of any known cosmic source. When reconstructed, the signal contained layered harmonics, thousands of tones forming an intricate soundscape. Hidden among them, computer-assisted decryption revealed human voices, dozens of them. Some were from the Golden Record, greetings in 55 languages. Others, however, were new, unknown. Voices speaking words no linguist could identify, yet hauntingly familiar, echoing through static, syllables that seemed to twist meaning and time. They repeated one phrase again and again, woven through the noise like a chant. When the frequencies were slowed to human rhythm, the words became clear. It hears, it learns, it remembers. Then, silence returned. Governments denied receiving anything. NASA shut down public access to its real-time feed, but across the world, shortwave operators began picking up rhythmic bursts every 61 seconds, the same signature that had started it all. The object, whatever it is, continues to move closer. Its projected arrival near the edge of the solar system remains within a few short years. Perhaps it comes in peace, perhaps it comes merely to watch, or perhaps, as Voyager's final whisper suggested, it's always been here, moving unseen between the folds of gravity and time, waiting for us to announce that we were ready to be seen. And when we did, it answered. Now, all we can do is listen, because in the end, the message from the void was never a threat. It was a mirror, a reflection of our own desire to reach out into the dark. Voyager reached farther than any machine, any dream, any voice of humanity, but what it found may prove that the universe was never empty. It was waiting, watching, listening. And perhaps, one day soon, when the signal grows stronger and the watchers finally arrive, we'll realize that what Voyager found wasn't something out there at all, but something that had been looking through us the entire time.